Hi guys, just Joey here. Today I'm really looking forward to this evening because I'm going out for a meal with some of my girlfriends, and because I'm wearing a grey dress I thought I would do a light grey smoky eye with a little bit of purpley colours in it, which some people might be a little bit scared of doing because it might seem a little bit sort of old-fashioned and granny-ish, but it's really coming back now. I've just been looking in Vogue online at the Stella McCartney show, and she had a lot of grey eyes on her models, so I think it's coming back in. So let's have a little go. So I'm going to start off with my skin. I'm going to be using MAC Face and Body. Let's get a bit of that on. And forgive me if I'm looking down here into the corner. It's where my little mirror is, so that at least everything looks even when I go out today. So let's get some of this on. Pop that on. I just want very light coverage over everything. Luckily at the moment I don't really have any major spots or blemishes, so it's just a nice coverage to basically even out the skin tone, and that obviously helps to sort of pull everything together. And the great thing with MAC Face and Body is that you can layer it up, so you can sort of just add a little bit more as needed. I always have slightly red patches here at the bottom of my cheeks, so I like to always put a second layer on there. I quite often leave my cheeks without a second layer because you can use the natural colouring on your cheeks, the natural pinkiness in there as almost part of your blusher. So let's get this on, and this is just a fantastic foundation because it's very skin-like. As I said, it can be layered up. It's kind of a dewy finish. It's certainly not matte, and if you like a full coverage foundation, this probably wouldn't be for you, but if you just like one that can be layered up, you might really like this. So I think that will do at the moment. And I think we need a little bit of under eye. I just pulled out of my cupboard this older Garnier BB cream, and I thought, oh yes, I'll use a bit of that. It's a sort of roll on, and it's quite sort of pinky, sort of salmony coloured, and I do have some dark bags at the moment, so I thought, well, that would hide the bluey tones from the dark bags quite well. So let's put a little bit of that on, and then I need something a little bit more heavy duty to cover those dark bags, and I've got my trusty Dermablend here. This is the Dermablend stick, and honestly it is just brilliant. It covers everything and it stays put, so I tend to just put it on my finger and then dab it on to the area that's needed, and I always put a little bit around my nose because I have a little bit of redness there. But on your face, just work out where there's any redness or discoloration and just dab that on. And dab, dab, dab with your finger, gentle on the eye area. Don't want to create more wrinkles. There we go. Okay, so it's not got rid of them. They're always going to be there, but toned it down a bit, and in light you can see it really does help. I did actually have my NARS Creamy Concealer here ready to go, but I think for the moment I'll leave that, and maybe after I've put my eye makeup on, if there's any drop down, I might use a little bit of that to tidy up. Okay, so that is as far as I'm going to go with the skin at the moment. Now I'm going to start on the eyes. As I said, if there is a little bit of drop down, I don't want that to go all over everything, so I'm going to leave it. Normally I would go straight on to doing my bronzer now, but because it's a grey eye, I don't think you really want too much warm colouring on your cheeks. So let's start off with the eye, and you might think this is a little bit odd, but this is a Me cream colour. I think it's what, Rich Colour Eye Defining Cream, and it's slightly blue colour, but I'm going to use this as basically the primer for my eyes. So let's dab that on, because I think the bluey tone underneath a silver and purpley colour should look quite good. Now you have to forgive me if I'm trying out this. This is actually the first time that I've done this. So it's a trial makeup session in front of the camera, really. So let's dab that blue on. It's so lovely, these Me pots. They go on so easily and they blend really well. As you can see, I mean, I'm only dabbing it on with my fingers. I'm not using any brushes or anything like that. That's really good. Now I'm pulling that colour up a bit at the corner of my eyes because I want to just make it slightly smoky in this sort of area. So obviously that will help. Now I hope you can see in this light that there's a slight bluey bluey tint on my eyelids now, all the way across, and that's, as I said, going to almost act like a primer. If you do have an eye primer, you can use that first if you like. Now, what am I going to try next? I have a sort of range of things. I've got a nice Clinique duo here that has this lovely sort of purpley grey shade. I've also got a 17 Eyes, this is really silver eyeshadow. And then I've also got my trusty L'Oreal Nude Lingerie palette, which, although is quite brown, has a very nice sort of, well, it's sort of a creamy white, which when I've tried on my hand doesn't come out too cream. So I think I'm going to go with that on the inner corners of my eyes. And like usual with me, I don't use a lot of brushes on my eyes. It's probably a bit haphazard, but I just don't have time to be getting them all out every 2 seconds. So there we go. I'm just going to put that literally just on this inner corner, dabbing it over that cream eyeshadow. And that will brighten and lighten the eyes. I'm just dabbing it here in the corners as well. We can neaten up the bits at the bottom in a second. Okay, so that's given us just a nice light wash of colour. It could just leave it there and put a bit of eyeliner on, but I think I want to darken up this corner. So what I'm going to do is just get a brush, one of my Real Techniques ones, which weirdly has concealer all over it, and go in with this Clinique purpley one. Now, you could get this kind of colour anywhere, I'm sure. The dark eyes are in quite a lot at the moment, so I always tap off to make sure we've not got too much on there, and then I'm just going to go in this corner. Yeah, it's actually coming out, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but coming out quite nicely purpley coloured, which will look really nice against this sort of silvery grey that I think I might put on in a minute. So I'm just going to work that into that little outer third of the eye. I'm not going to go anywhere near the central bit because I don't want to darken that up. And I'm actually going to do look straight ahead at my eye and then put the darker bit on the top of my eyelid here. Any of you that have slightly sort of saggy eyelids like I do, it's the real trick to help open up your eyes. You need to just look straight on and just put the colour where you think it should be, and then after you've done that you can blend it all in. So that's all put on a bit haphazard at the minute. It looks completely like I've just smushed my finger in there, but it will come together, I promise you. And let's do the other side very quickly. Get some on this corner. There we go. And again, I'm going to do the open eyes thing. And for me, this purpley colour is actually really good because I've got green eyes, and the purpley colours really bring out the green in your eyes. Unfortunately, due to the natural lighting I've got today, I don't know that you'll be able to see that, but it really does. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of even up the shape of this outer section using what's left on my brush, and also what's left on my brush, I'm just going to bring that a little bit under that outer third of my eye, not much. Really don't want too much. If I was going out to something a bit more than, you know, meals with the girlfriends, I might think about putting eyeliner all on the inside of my eyes, but as basically it's a bit of a pain to get off at the end of the night, I'm just going to go with darkening up the eyes with a little bit around the edge. So I've got this really nice, it's a very old one, I've had it for ages, but it's a Clinique eyeshadow stick, I think it's called, in Pewter, and it's a really, really nice shade. It's sort of a, well, pewter blue, sort of bluey grey colour. But what I'm going to do before I put that on is get my trusty blending brush, which I've shown you. Just check there's nothing left on it from others. That's really bad when you go in with a dark colour. And I'm just going to blend all of this purpley colour together with the sort of lighter silvery shade that was on there. And this will really bring it all together. Make it look a lot more professional than if you don't. So just working that a little bit over into the centre of the eye, but not too much, certainly not going all the way around. There we go, I think that's okay. That's quite nice, I think, yep. Okay, now I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to come right in and I'm going to start basically drawing a very rough line, I mean not neat at all, at the base of my lashes, just to darken it up a bit, and I'm going to draw that from the outside corner here. I'm not going to wing it or anything like that, but I am going to try and bring it a little bit further into this front section, if I can anyway. It's actually dried out just a very little bit, so it's not actually depositing as much colour as it used to, but it'll get there, it'll get there. Okay, so I think that's alright. I've put quite a bit on, and that's really bringing that pewtery shade. Now what I'm going to do is use a smaller brush that I've got. This is an angled one, and just sort of blend that bit in. No, it doesn't need to be fully blended in at all, just so that it's not a harsh line though. And in fact you can make it as strong as you like. Look at your eye shape and just see what's needed. For me, I always like to basically darken this outer third and try and extend the eye a little bit so that it appears bigger. So I'm going to bring it out to the corner here and bring it down on the bottom third, but no more than about a third of the eye on the bottom here. And what I'm going to do is put it on, blend it a little, put more on, and the more you layer it, the more it's likely to stay put for the night. So there we go. So I'm going to get the other eye up to this point, and then I will come back to you. Both eyes up to the same stage. I've just put the pewter eye pencil basically around the outer third of the eye, and I've just smudged it in a little bit at the bottom. I've also decided, whilst you weren't here, to put it on the inner waterline of my top eyelid, not on the bottom, just so that it all sort of meshes together, and also having that little bit of colour on the top waterline makes your eyelashes look a little bit thicker and fuller. Okay, so I think I'm probably going to leave it there for tonight. If I was going out, I might have perhaps got a little bit of black kohl and done the inside of my eyes and made it a lot darker, but as I'm sort of going for a more casual meal tonight, I thought I'll just leave it like that. The only things that I do, and this is almost every time that I don't put something on the inner rim, is I use the Benefit Eye Bright pencil, and I always put it on the inner waterline. It's sort of a slightly pinky whitey colour, and it just makes your eyes, now at the minute it looks very strong, but it actually sort of wears off in a minute, and it makes your eyes appear a lot more awake and wider. So I always do that. I'm going to put it on this side, and I tend to carry it in my bag as well. It's a really handy one, especially if you're out and you just want to add a little bit more brightness to the inner corner of your eyes. You can also use it on your brows, under the arch here. So I'll put a little bit there. So yeah, basically a really handy pencil. So now I'm just going to have a look at my brows and how they're looking. Don't want anything too groomed tonight, but I am trying to regrow my brows at the front here, and I've got a few little gaps, so I'm just going to fill it in. This is the Charlotte Tilbury, I can't think what the name of it is, but it's the brow pencil, and I've got it in the shade Grace, which is not a warm shade, which is good because it just sort of blends in. Hopefully on the video you can see it. So I'm just literally blending a little bit into these front bits that are growing out so that it looks a bit more filled in, but I'm not going crazy on the colour of my brows at the moment because I've just had them done and they're quite dark anyway, so we'll just have a little bit of that there. And then to pull them together I use a little bit of Maybelline Brow Drama, and it just keeps them sleek for the evening. It's got this nice blobby brush, which to start off with I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure about that, but it is actually very good at grabbing the little hairs, and it just keeps everything in place, and it's just a little bit more than clear on it, doesn't deposit too much. So that's the brows done. I think what I'm going to do now is just have a little look, see what I want to do with the rest of the face. I think because there is so much grey colouring on my eyes, I'm not going to put too much bronzer on, but I will put a little bit of blusher. And I've got a really nice colour here. It's from Revlon, and it's one of their cream shades called Pinched. and it's sort of peachy colour, and I think that that will work quite well with the colours today. So let's put a bit on and see. I think if we put too much bronzer on, it would just look too fake and it would kind of clash with the greyness and the grey purpley colours. So I think that's looking, yeah, that's looking okay. Later on I might dab on a little bit of strobe cream on the tops of my cheeks just to give them a little bit more of a gleam. It is actually a couple of hours before I'm going out, so I'm hoping this will all stay in place. And one of the things you can do to help it stay in place is just powder. I've got the Soap and Glory Glow All Out powder, and I'm using a duo fibre brush that I don't get too much, and I'm just going to put that on the places that I don't want any shine. So that's just basically the T-zone and just under the eyes slightly. It just helps to keep it all stay in place. Right, okay, so I think basically now I just need to put some mascara on and do my lips. So with my lips today, I'm going to be using the No. 7 Precision Fine Liner pen. I do have a slight discoloration on my lip here, which really annoys me, and I have to put a little bit of concealer on it sometimes. It just flares up, it's very annoying. Let's put a bit on now, and I tend to like to put it on first, sort of blank it out, and then put a little bit of liner on top, especially when you want your lipstick to last, if you're eating, things like that. So this is a really natural colour, this No. 7 one. I honestly think it could be used by almost anyone. And what I'm going to do is fill in the whole lip, and then it will act like a primer to the lipstick and help it grip. So there we go, and I'm just going to put another layer on the top there. There we go. So obviously just using liner, if you like a matte look you could leave it just at that, and certainly I quite like it, but I am more in favour of glosses. So I have Tanya Burr lip gloss in Chic, and this again is not too pinky, it's not completely nude, but I think it'll work. It certainly goes quite well with that liner. Yeah, I think that's okay. In fact, I might possibly want one that's a little bit more glossy than this one. I might have to find something, but that's basically the face. I'll be putting some mascara on as well. Just so you know, I've also, although my hair is naturally straight, I have straightened it with the straightening irons. I then use a little bit of the Batiste Extra L Volume Dry Shampoo, just a little bit in the roots, and before I go out I'll just sort of smoosh it up a little bit just to give a little bit of volume at the back there. I also use a little bit of the John Frieda Sheer Blonde Instant Silkener, and it's really nice after you straighten it, just sort of gives a little bit of sheen and gleam on your hair. And then finally, and probably I'll put a bit more on before I go out, I've used a little bit of the Tresemme Silk Shine, which is just a shine serum, and just sprayed that over, and I just wanted it really straight tonight, nothing too fussy, because I've got a nice long maxi dress on, which I will maybe go and film so you can see the whole look put together. So I hope you liked seeing me do this grey look. Give it a go. It's not scary really, and I think it doesn't look too old-fashioned. I quite like it with, certainly if you're wearing grey items, that would look really, really nice. If you've got green eyes as well, put that little bit of purple in and it really makes the green pop. So yeah, thanks very much for watching everyone. Tell me if you give it a try, and subscribe, like, love, and thank you very much for all my new subscribers, and I'll speak to you all soon. Lots of love, bye!